Ready? Namaste, Mishra.
Namaskar.
Namaste. So I just wanted to come right off the bat and ask, Sanskritam is said to be many people are saying it's a dead language. Is it dead? How should we look at Sanskritam?
Okay. So, thank you for asking this question right in the beginning. It's a misconception and misunderstanding of many people who ask this question. Not just Sanskritam is a dead language, but Sanskritam is a difficult language, a useless language. There are so many tags people use for this, but let's contemplate on two important questions. Rather, three important questions with regard to Sanskritam. Is Sanskrit a dead language? Is Sanskrit a difficult language? Is Sanskrit a language of religion? Because these three questions keep disturbing us. Let me tell you the word dead. I have no problem with the word dead, but I have a problem with mrita bhasha when it gets translated into mrita. Why I don't have a problem with the dead? Because dead, the word dead itself in English has so many connotations. We say like my telephone is dead. In economics, we were taught that dead capital. Sometimes it is used adverbially, like he is walking dead slow. Okay. And you say dead body. Everywhere dead does not have the same meaning. It's different. But if you translate it as mrita bhasha, so it creates problem. And people understand dead language in the sense of mrita bhasha. It's a bigger problem. So when, say for example, like if I have to translate, my telephone is dead, how will I translate in any Indian language? If I say mrita duravani, it's ridiculous. If I have to translate dead capital using the word mrita, it doesn't make any sense. Mrita mooladhanam, ridiculous. Even in post office, you have this idea, dead letter. The letter which doesn't have address cannot move, so it's a dead letter. If you translate mrita patram, it's ridiculous. So for each occasion, we have to have a different word. In the case of dead letter, it can be sanketa rahita patram. In the case of dead telephone, it can be nishkriya chalavani or duravani. Nishkriya. It's a default. So we have to see in the same way, like in linguistics, dead language as a concept, it exists as a technical term, because when a language is not spoken by many people, so it's put under dead language, or maximum spoken language is put as living language. But that's fine with me. So instead of translating it as mrita bhasha, we can say alpajana kathita bhasha, abahujana kathita bhasha. So that makes sense. But dead language means, like in a sense, like if you see, Greek and Latin are more dead in the sense of dead than Sanskrit. In all over world you see, and especially when you come to Bharat, we have 19 Sanskrit universities and thousands of gurukulas where Sanskritam is taught through the medium of Sanskritam. You have news bulletin, you have magazines coming daily, quarterly, monthly, bi-monthly, half yearly, yearly, so many journals. and people speak in Sanskrit. There are many villages in Bharat, around 10 villages, where the communication language, the native language is Sanskrit. So it is not dead in the sense in which the word dead language is used. Okay. Compared to other languages, yes, we do have the number of people speaking Sanskrit will be less, but that doesn't make Sanskrit as a defunct language or dead language. It is a very highly living language. Not only a living language, it is a Murta Sanjivani. It can make the dead alive. Most of the Indian languages, if you see their condition now, I give this example. I mean, I must have spoken it hundreds of places. I don't mind repeating it. People say, like I heard the conversation of two girls, Hindi speaking girls, saying, मैं तो as far as possible pure Hindi ही बोलती हूँ. And this is the purity which remains now with all Indian languages. How many English words we are forced to use in our language? Where is the purity? Now who will save Sanskritam? Where from you will get words to face the new challenges, new words? The transparent system of root sounds, the system of generation of new words, the mechanism with which new words are generated, this effective system you don't find in any other language. And more we will talk about it, like here is a language, when you start using it consciously, its word, how it is derived, the very Varnamala of it, the design of it, the syntax, the morphology, the semantics, every aspect of it. You look at the phonetics, all the different aspects of language you take. Okay. So here you will find it's more systematic, more scientific, more lively, and gives you a very different level of experience. So it's not dead. Is it a difficult language? It can be answered from two different angles. It all depends upon how you are approaching Sanskrit. Sanskritam is not a survival language. It is not a conventional language. So you cannot apply all the technique that you use for learning a conventional language for Sanskritam. It won't work properly. Yet, some of the things which are beautiful in language learning we can adopt. There are new techniques of learning the language. We must adopt, we must be open towards that. Second thing, it's not a survival language. It's a language of higher consciousness. Knowing that anyone who wants to study Sanskritam must align with the Swabhava and Swadharma of the very language itself. You should know the nature of Sanskrit, that it's coming from a very high level of consciousness. You have to align. If you if your purpose is wrong of learning Sanskrit, you don't get Ananda. You may intellectually master the language, but you will not get what Sanskrit can offer when you are open to the higher consciousness and become more aligned with the language. So, if you are aligned, it doesn't create any difficulty. It's beautiful. Not necessary to master the language from every angle. Sometimes, if you know and understand the very basic of the formation of words, the root sounds, even a single word, you will get hooked with a single word for months together. It's a joy to learn. Because I have experienced it. That's what is my approach. You don't know, sometimes one word enough. I said, yeah, done. For months together, that word is generating a joy in you, brings clarity in you. The amount of clarity that it brings, the deeper meanings of the root sounds, you will not get in any other language. I can give you so many examples moving ahead when we, discuss about the other aspects of the language, if that is permitted during our interview. Then is it a language of religion? So sometimes they say, oh, it's a Hindu language. So why should everyone read? Even amongst the Hindus also, they don't want to do what the Hindus should do, which is the fact. I mean, they need to understand, like, what we should know, how we should know, how we should utilize what resources we have. Enormous amount of the whole world is crazy after stealing all our resources and becoming rich, and we are allowing that. But what can enrich us, we have discarded that, ignored that, neglected that. Is Sanskrit a Hindu language? Can you brand any language as a Hindu language? The Bible is in English. Can you say that it's a Christian language? Language is a medium of communication. You have chemistry in Sanskrit. Can someone say like it's a Hindu chemistry? It's a Hindu physics. It's a Hindu mathematics. It's Hindu botany. Hindu life science. Science is science. It has nothing to do with Hindu or any other religion. So it is an unnecessary, imposition. Just because the Hindus have kept alive this language and all that is written in this language, the world should be. Other religions also, the followers of other religions also, the entire humanity should be grateful to the Hindus that they have kept alive a language which is a planetary language, a universal language, which can do good to the entire humanity and uplift the humanity. If Sanskrit is lost, neglected, if it is not given the right respect, the humanity cannot progress. It's a language of the humanity. It's a language, it's a planetary language, a universal language. People have to realize that nature of Sanskrit and start using it.
Mishra ji, you made a statement. You said there is so much joy in Sanskritam. You can get lost in one word. So I have a question, but before that I have a question behind the question. So I'll ask the first question, which is, how long have you been either learning or teaching Sanskritam, just for context for us?
Yeah, on one side, I would say, I don't know, maybe lives after lives I am with Sanskrit. That has become very natural to me. But right from my childhood, I have been with Sanskrit. So I grew up in Sanskrit environment, listening to stories from my grandfather, stories of Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, various other kinds of stories. And he used to recite the shlokas from Ramayana. From some episode he will take, he will recite the whole verse and then explain in other languages. I mean, using Odia or Hindi sometimes. But the original verses, he would say that by heart. This story you have to by heart. This episode you have to by heart. He used to teach in that. So right from the beginning, I am exposed to this language. But what has kept me engaged with this language is the purity of the vibration of the sound system. Then the rhythmic flow. It's all poetry. Sanskritam is 99% poetry. It was difficult for people to write in prose. That's why they say Gadyam Kavinam Nikasham Vadanti, in the sense that if someone could write in prose, was respected as the greatest of the poets. They say he has the ability to write in prose. Because poetry was so natural to it. Even you take a prose passage in Sanskritam, it will sound like mantra. I mean, there is a joke, I don't know whether it is true or not. So, once someone's neighbor asked the couple, he said, oh, last night, whole night, I mean, till late night, there was some puja or something going on in your home. They laughed. They said, no, we were scolding each other, but scolding in Sanskrit. So that sounded that as a puja is going on inside. That's the kind of feel that one gets. That's the impact that it can create, this language. So there's so much of rhythm, and wherever there is rhythm, there's beauty, there is power, there is dynamism, there is clarity, there is anand. So it's a language of anand. Anyone who learns to, with a little openness, will be filled in with anand. Listening to it, speaking it, reading it, it just creates ananda. You'll just merge into the ocean of ananda if you are into Sanskrit. That's all.
Wonderful. So then that brings me to this question, which is, now there are several people who have, we may not have had the benefit of growing up with Sanskritam, but we have come in contact with Sanskritam and we have started learning Sanskritam. Many people all across the world. So we start simple conversational Sanskritam, maybe learn some vibhakti, some grammar concepts, some karakam, samasa, sandhi, and then somewhere we stagnate. Is that we know that that is not the end of Sanskritam, but we kind of stagnate and we are meandering there. Do you have any advice on what next? How can we experience the joy that you're talking about even better?
Yeah. So while learning any language, and especially Sanskrit, don't be impatient. Learn it very slowly. Don't be in a hurry to master the language. And the technique can differ from person to person, depending upon for what you are studying. But don't be impatient with this language. Read it again and again. You know, Sri Aurobindo, he was entirely brought up in a very European English situation, environment. He was not even allowed to speak his own mother tongue, to come in contact with anything that is Indian. There is a story behind it, I don't go for that. But this is the environment he grew up. 14 years in England, like Ram did his Vanavas 14 years. So he did his Vanavas in England. And when he came back, within few months he mastered Sanskrit. How? He says that's, like he got hooked to the story of Nala and Damayanti episode in the Mahabharata. He said hundreds of times I just repeated this, reading. And that's how he got into the language. That was a different approach. And he also used to say, like, if you want to master a language, keep reading. Different contexts, depending upon at what level you are. So those type of texts you start reading. Don't enter into the intricacies of Vyakarana. And once you have entered into that, it will
Consume you.
yeah, you'll find it difficult. I mean, I don't say that you shouldn't, but when you grow, and if you are truly interested in Vyakaranam, then go for Vyakaranam. Otherwise, without going to the Vyakaranam also, like, you can enter into the spirit of language. All those who say that no, you have to know Sanskrit Vyakaranam and then you will be master of the language, not necessary. I have met so many people who are so fluent and understand every aspect of Sanskrit. But you ask them, like, how this word is formulated, which Paninian rule, and then what is the prakriya, they say, sorry sir, I can't do that. But they do justice to the language. So when it comes to specifically grammatical derivation and sutras, it's a specialized subject, you can do it. But one can always approach Sanskritam and have a deeper understanding of the language, can grab the spirit of the language and enter into various shastras without doing the Vyakaranam. Vyakaranam happens naturally, automatically. Okay, so people can differ from me, but this is what my experience is. I myself am a student of Vyakaranam, and I know, like, what kind of rigorous exercises we have to do. So, what, like, where you get stopped, what next? Actually, it is an unending thing. Like there's nothing that you don't need to ask this question. What next? Whatever you feel like, you go there. But keep this contact with the language on a regular basis. Read some texts, some stories, some slokas, some mantras. Keep doing it. 15-20 minutes, half an hour should be dedicated for Sanskritam on a daily basis. If you have not done it before going to bed, you should. I do that even now also. Like if I have not done much, at least in one night I'll say today I should at least add one new word to my like what I have not learned. Otherwise you won't get sleep. So that's the passion you have to create in yourself. So step by step, don't be impatient. Whatever stage you are in Sanskritam, there also like you'll find enormous amount of materials. Enormous amount of materials you'll find. So keep a contact, regular contact with the language. Anyone, and this message is not for just one person, but for anyone who is making effort to learn Sanskritam. Never get disappointed. Keep a contact, constant contact with the language. Learn certain words. Try to understand the deeper meanings. Even I say, like when I went to Pondicherry, I started teaching. So a lot of South Indian people, Tamil people came to learn Sanskrit, knowing that they do not have much connection like Hindi, Odia, or Marathi, Bangla, Gujarati. At least the vocabulary is, a lot of vocabulary is tatsama or tadbhava. You will understand it. Tamil has less number, like Odia will have 80% of Sanskrit words. Tamil will have 40%. They find it difficult. So I devised a different technique for the Tamil people, South Indian people. Namasmarana methodology of learning Sanskrit. So I told them all the students will come. So first day exercise is please note down the names of your friends, relatives, whatever names you remember. Just write Lokanathan, Swaminathan, Rajanikanta, Jayalalita, Karunanidhi. So all kinds of words they will go on writing. So if they are able to collect 100 names, you know more than 150 vocabularies. Rajani, Kanta. You have two words. Rajani means night. Kanta means someone, yeah. So Karuna, Nidhi. So Nidhi is the treasure house. Karuna, compassion. So ask. Then I tell them that whenever you meet a person, ask the name and the meaning of the name. So while going, like we are driving, we are going in the public vehicle, meeting so many people, we can increase our vocabulary and understanding. This is also like everyone who is aspiring or making effort to learn Sanskrit. Whenever you meet a person, ask the name, ask the meaning. So by way of talking, meeting, you can learn so many things. You tell the meaning of your name also. Like the meanings will be clear. Sometimes people know the meaning, sometimes do not know the meaning. Then make effort to find out the meaning, inform the person. Beautiful names we have. This is the only civilization which has got Sahasranama concept. Durga Sahasranama, Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama. Each one of us, we can have our own Sahasranama. Let me describe me in 1,000 different ways. If I can describe me, I know who am I. And I have 1,000 different qualities to tell the whole world that this is what I am. So I'll have 1,000 different names for me. Each quality I'll give a name. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. I can create a Sahasranam for myself. Right? So this is the beauty of Sanskrit. So never get bored with this language. You continue with that.
Wonderful. Because you mentioned this name so many times, I wanted to hear from you. We've in general said it in many ways. The word, is it Samskritam, Sanskrit, Sanskrit, or Sanskrit? How should I even say it?
Yes, see, the Anuswara, though it is pronounced as like Sanskritam, there's nothing wrong in it. You can say Sanskritam. Because the sa which is coming immediately after Anuswara is a dental sa. If you make the Anuswara na also, Sanskritam, there is no harm. It doesn't create any interruption in your pronunciation. If it is creating an interruption, then you are not right. But in this case, it doesn't create an interruption. But saying Sanskrit will be little, anglicized. That's how the British people maybe used it. So Sanskrit or Sanskrit or Sanskritam or Sanskritam, both are natural. Both, there is no problem in pronunciation. For example, like if you say Namah Narayanaya, you find a interruption. But if you say Namo Narayanaya, you don't find it. Okay. So why I have to say Namo Narayanaya? Because with Namah Narayanaya, I find it difficult to pronounce. When you say Sanskritam, does anyone find it difficult to pronounce? No. So it's natural. So if there is no problem, naturally it fits into the rhythmic flow of the language, fine, you go. Grammatically also, I don't think it will be wrong, because Anuswara, immediately after Anuswara, what you have is the dental sa. So you can attach na to it. Sanskritam or Sanskritam.
Very nice.
Confidently.
Confidently, yes. Thank you for clarifying that. You are in the US now. You're touring the US, and you're stressing on the importance of being rooted. I wanted to understand in the parallel with Sanskritam, what is Sanskritam's role in being rooted?
Yes. So being rooted is the primary task of everyone. Every human being, whatever community they may belong to, whatever country they may belong to, they should be rooted in their own culture, their own core civilizational values. We should know about it. We should know our past. We should know what is the root. But being rooted is not all about going back to the past or knowing the past. Being rooted is that there is something potentially in us. When we create that right kind of climate, that seed, what is there in the potential seed form, will start growing and spreading its own root. And once you are rooted, no one can shake you off. You are in a position to face the challenges of the world, the problems of the world, without being shaken. That's what the rootedness does. I told, in fact, in one of the conferences, you say that, like children are getting spoiled, this is happening. I said, why someone couldn't even spoil my own child? I have also grown up getting the same education. So like me, there will be so many people, we were not changed. My child is, no one can, divert my child. She's rooted right from the beginning. I didn't force that rootedness. It's up to us to decide. You make a halla gulla, like our children are getting spoiled, this education system is not wrong and all. Education has to start right from the home, which is the true Gurukula. So if we are not following it, how are we going to pass on to the children? We have to live that being rooted. In being rooted, we have to understand what is the core civilizational value of ours. If you are not studied the great, texts, why should we read the text? What is there in those texts? All those who were rooted, who had the knowledge of root, who had gone through by the power of tapas, by their discipline, by their hard work, they have achieved something. They have recorded their realizations, and that record of their realization is the Shastra. So, we don't need to cling to the Shastra all the time, but we can take inspiration from the Shastra. The real Shastra is within every one of us. The real Guru is within every one of us. We need to evoke that. But the outer Shastra, the outer Guru, comes in the beginning as a help to make us see the real Shastra within. But we have to make a lot of effort. Every individual has to make a lot of effort for oneself in order to evoke that Shastra from within, the Guru from within. Okay. So this is where you see the importance of rootedness. And when it comes to Sanskritam, because most of the Shastras are in Sanskritam, the core civilizational values, what has given a great foundation to this civilization, for which for thousands and thousands of years, so the only civilization which has a very dynamic living presence, which has been inspiring to the rest of the world. The whole world is crazy after Bharat, not because for anything else, because they know that there is something different.
Magic.
The wealth of wisdom which we need to get into. So this is what is happening. So Sanskritam as a language, it's not just that we should study Sanskritam just because the Shastras are written in it, but the very language itself has immense power to make you rooted. Every word of it, every syllable of it has immense power. Sometimes, like when I contemplate on Varnamala, I feel that lives after lives one has to spend just to get into the totality of the Varnamala. Every syllable is filled in with a world of wisdom, ocean of wisdom. Just contemplate on a single syllable. There's so much of it. And can you believe that in Bharat, our ancestors have created more than 30 Ekakshara Kosha. And each Ekakshara Kosha gives many different meanings. Though there are similarities, but you find some unique meaning. Otherwise, the Para Acharyas could have said, no, my teacher has already written this book, why should I write another book? What was the need of creating 32 Ekakshara Koshas? We should have been satisfied with one. No, go on exploring. But at a certain period of time, the way our Shastras were evolving, whether it is Dharma Shastra, Kavya Shastra, or any such, somewhere there is a stagnation. We have forgotten to create new Shastras. We are clinging to the past, saying that you cannot question Panini, you cannot question Patanjali. Whatever they have written, it's written. Even if it is wrong, you have to accept it. So, but see, a practical example, if you find your own child is growing bigger than you in knowledge, will you be happy or will you be distressed? Happy? The same way, if someone outgrows, say Panini, in intelligence, Panini will feel very happy. That's why Swami Vivekananda, I like this firebrand Swami, is the inspiration right from the childhood. He says that, instead of clinging to the past, be greater than Vishwamitra, be greater than Vasishtha, be greater than Panini, Patanjali. That's how you pay off the Rishi Runa. Not that, create a puja room and then keep some shastras, Veda mantras, do Sandhya Vandanam and forget about it. You have to develop those qualities which made them a rishi. That a rishittu has to be evoked. That's how you pay the runa. And if you evoke that rishittu within you, you may transcend everything. You may grow bigger than any previous rishi. So what harm in it? That's how we should grow. The progressive mentality that every one of us we should have, we should evolve and we should outgrow. That's what will help us in being rooted. We have to understand it. No clinging to the past. Using the past as a springboard to leap towards a brighter future. Past is the foundation. We should take all the insights, inspiration. Present is the material. Future is the goal. So that's what I have learned from Shree Ram, from the mother, from Swami Vivekananda. We are always looking towards the future. And Sanskritam is a language of the future. Language of the future. So it always creates this sense of future in you. Bright future. It leads towards light. Because it doesn't speak with It is not satisfied with anything temporal. It always deals the material that the rishis have used in designing this language. If at all it was designed by the rishis, Rishi Prajna. Okay. So the materials which they have used in the design of the language, those materials are not temporal materials, perishable materials. They are eternally imperishable materials. That's why it is a Shashwata Sanatana Bhasha. Okay. So that is why you will not find in Sanskrit a single word for any object, because objects are perishable. Then what are those words? Then how do you describe a phone, microphone, a fan, wall, door, window, hand, head? And you say that there is no word. No, there are plenty of words, hundreds of words. Each word describes of the property of the object, but not the object itself. If a single object has got 100 properties, you will find 100 words. If you discover a new property, add that. Sanskrit is not fixed. Amarkosha is not fixed. If Amarkosha gives you 30 words and you have another experience with water, with fire, no one stops you adding another word. Beautiful words have been created. Say someone created a word, Chandra Chuda Chuda Mani. See the creativity in the creation of this word. Chandra is moon, Chuda is the Shikhara, the crown. Who is Chandra Chuda? Shiva. Okay. So Shiva is Chandra Chuda because he has the moon on his head. Now Chuda Mani, Chandra Chuda is Shiva, Shiva's Chuda is Shikhara. Shiva's Chuda is adorned by whom? Moon. So it's a word for moon. Chandra Chuda Chuda Mani. So how creatively the word is, you can create any number of words. It makes you creative. It's a language which forces you to be creative. And once you are creative, you are in Ananda. It's a language which brings more joy, more clarity, more happiness, and creates this sense of expansion, creates this sense of timelessness. Amritatva. So, if you are into Sanskritam, you don't feel like, if you are into the spirit, you don't feel like falling into the trap of this, past, present or future. It is a language of timelessness. You live in that state. That's how Sanskritam helps us understanding the deeper sense of everything. What lies within me, what lies outside me. And because of the mechanism that it uses in the creation of the work, the kind of relationship that the sound, the sense and the symbol, they're just one. In a conventional languages, sound and sense, they are different. Symbol is different. Here, everything is a single whole. The sense of every sound emerges from the depth of the sound itself. That's the beauty. That's why every Sanskritam word is a self-explanatory word. You don't need a dictionary. Dictionaries are redundant in Sanskrit. If you're familiar with the root sounds and other things, it's absolutely, you can create an enormous amount of words. And the way it helps us understanding oneself and understanding the world. For example, if I have to understand why body is called Shriram, or why body is called Deha, why body is called Kaya, Kalevara, why hand is called Hasta, why it's called Pani, why it is called Kara, it is called Netra, Nayana, Chakshu, Akshi. Each one brings a different level of awareness about the different parts of my body and explains the properties of it. Why is body at all? It helps me understand my own body. That when it is aging, deteriorating, it is Sharira. When it is growing, it is Deha. What a beauty. It creates a very different awareness. And this awareness makes us rotate within ourselves. That's why Sanskritam as a language, it's a very different language, very different from any other language that exists on the earth. People may go on arguing, debating, it's all fine. But this is what is my experience. Like me, there will be many people who are into the spirit of Sanskritam, must be feeling the same way I feel, that you come in contact with this language, start using it consciously on your day-to-day life. See that your roots are growing stronger and stronger and stronger.
You spoke about a number of Sanskritam words. You mentioned a number of Sanskritam words. I have a very fundamental question, Mishraji. My name is Shree Ram. And I'm used to saying my name is Shree Ram. When I started learning Sanskritam, started getting familiar with the sound of the name. Like if you're talking about Bhagavan, then Bhagavan Rama or Ramaha. In fact, ask my mother who he is, she will say Raman. So different parts of India, Kanchiya, Bhashasu, have been saying the same word multiple names. Should I pick the way Bhagavan Rama's name was pronounced and say that? Should I say my name as the way my mother tells my name? Where should I fit into all this, the right way of pronouncing?
See, if you, depending upon in which language you are speaking, if you are speaking Sanskritam, you have to stick and then say Rama. You cannot say Ram Gacchati. You have to say Rama Gacchati or Ramu Gacchati. It happens with the children also, like with the children who are familiar with multiple languages. Say I go to home. If I start my conversation in Sanskritam, my daughter will start replying in Sanskrit. If I start in Odia, she will start Odia. If I start in English, she will start in English. If anyone comes home, starts in French, she will give answer in French. Children understand.
Sure.
And language to language, things will differ. And while you are using English or Hindi, or if you are saying that Rama बोलता है, आपका नाम क्या है? Rama. So it will be ridiculous. The person, what kind of is this? So depending upon which language you are using, understanding the nature of that, you can use it. Suppose you are using English, okay, robot, or you say Elizabeth. So you cannot say that Elizabetham, I'm Benkam Gacham, I'm going to bank. You use it as an indeclinable. I'm bank Gacham. What's wrong with it? You use it as an indeclinable. Okay. For Mama office, you don't need to say Mama officer because Karyalaya ends with a. The same, but if you want, depending upon that, say, India is a very different country in the sense that it is, it's a forest in the sense that every inch of it is filled in with a diversity, multiplicity, Vaividhya. Without Vaividhya, we can't. We're not satisfied with one. With a single potato, we make 100 different subjects. It's not a desert paradigm. It's like a forest paradigm. And see, the Bengali people will pronounce in a different way. Like if you go to Bengal, though the word is Sushanta, you ask any Bengali person if his name is Sushanta, it is Sushanto. Sri Aurobindo will say Sri Aurobindo. That's the influence of the regional languages. So we have to take into consideration that. But if I am speaking in Sanskrit, or someone is, sometimes the distortion also happens, like you unnecessarily prolong the words, so then the word becomes feminine. So if you say Krishna as a Krishna, so Krishna is the name of Draupadi. So you don't know who you are referring to. So has to be pronounced as like you say B-U-T, but. Okay. So it has to be like so has to be if you make it a, you don't get the right result, and then you also speak English in the same way, na? Bat. Instead of bird, you say bat. It will give a different thing. So yoga, say for example, many people say yoga. कहाँ जा रहे हो yoga? Say it rightly, just yoga. Even some people say yoga. That's also not correct. It's yoga. You understand the varnamala, the phonetics. A is pronounced as a. Never at, like you cut it. If you cut it, you remove that vowel sound. That's also not good. If you prolong, the meaning will be different. That's why while speaking Sanskrit, one has to be very careful about the short, long. Short has to be short, long has to be long. If you shorten the long or lengthen the short, the meaning will be different. For example, like the word dinamani. Dinamani. Every vowel here, every syllable here is short. So when you were singing a words or speaking Sanskritam or saying it, even in regional languages also, you have to say dinamani. If you, to make it more musical, if you say dinamani, the dina becomes dina. Dina means daridra. The daridram ka mani. Okay, the jewel, the gem amongst the dina, daridra, wretched, poor fellow. Okay. So one has to be very careful. Not just with E, U, A, I, but with A also. A is A. The long form of it is A. But in the southern part of Bharat, so because of the language, there is no A. There is A. So their A sounds like A. So even though they say Rama, for them, like for a North Indian, it will sound like A. But for the South person coming from South of India, so if it is long, then it will say Rama. It will still prolong. Okay, because A. But here in Sanskritam it is A. This A is missing in the pronunciation because of the language. That's what is my understanding.
Anything else you want me to add?
So I have one question for both of you. The question right now is for Dr. Mishra is, many parents want their children to learn Sanskritam now, but expect no additional workload on the children. So what message do you have for them?
Yeah, they don't need to spend additional time. That is what is their concern. Why should they concern about it? First thing, because we teach children by spending a lot of money, so many things, which is not a part of their curriculum in school education. We take them to, say, swimming. We take them to martial arts, music, dance, outside the classroom. That's also burdening, tasking their time. So, why do you teach your child music, swimming, dance, martial arts, judo, karate, or something else which is not a part of the curriculum? Because you see that there is a different growth that is happening, that is helping the child. The same way, I request all the parents, the way music helps, the way sports help, the way dance helps, the way martial arts help, Sanskritam helps in developing their inner cognitive faculties. So consider it as a therapeutic language, as a healing language, as a language which helps in the growth and development of the inner faculties. If a child is hyper, I'm telling you, like, ask the child, put the child into a situation where he is reciting 10-15 mantras or shlokas on a regular basis, and within 3-4 months you will see that the child is calming down. If the child has low memory, if the child has any delay, any kind of thing like that. Even I deal with autistic children. I have helped so many parents having autistic problem with the children through Sanskritam. How happy the parents are. They put, the growth of the child on social media saying that, see, my child is doing so good. Sanskritam brings that joy to them. So, first thing is that don't think that you are tasking the children. You are helping the children in their growth. Point one. Point two, if you don't want to do that also, it doesn't take much time. Create a kind of, like prayer time. 5 to 10 minutes. We are watching television. So many things we do. Can't we take out just 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes time while doing something? Do that. And there are various ways also which will not task. All the different household articles that you have, fix the Sanskrit names everywhere. When the child is around, it doesn't take time, it doesn't task. So everywhere see, oh, what is written here? Duravani. Mama, ye Duravani kya hai? So it's written there. No? That's what is Duravani. So all your kitchen utensils, masalas, and everything that you have, whatever you have, try to find. I have prepared a whole list of the different things, hundreds of words. I can share that with all the parents. You take it, just print and then fix it. I have the Sanskrit word and the English word to help. So then you understand, okay, this is the ingredient. Fix it. So wherever you keep your umbrella, put chatram there. Or switchboard, pinja. Okay. So anywhere, bulb, whatever is there in the household, the child will see it on a regular basis. It doesn't take time. You have to do a little bit of work. You create environment. You create that environment, children will be automatically attracted. Generate curiosity in them. Tell them some beautiful stories about Sanskrit. I tell children, I say, children, do you know like how does a snake move? I'm not talking to them about Sanskrit. Why this Sanskrit person is asking about snake's movement? No, is the moose zigzag? I said, okay. How many times the snake goes straight and then how many times it goes curved? Straight. Snake always goes curved, zigzag. Straight when it goes. Okay. If your bike handle is locked, where will you go? You will be revolving round and round and round, curved. But the snake goes from one destination to the other destination. How does it reach from here to here? If it is always curved movement, it should have been revolving round and round. It means that somewhere it straightens itself. Yeah, there is a point here. So how many times? I said, I also don't know, I didn't know. But then I found out that the snake moves once straight and 2 times curved. And one straight, 2 times curved, and 4 times when it goes like one cycle is over. Then maybe it takes rest, looks here and there, and then moves like this. He said, but how did you know about it? I said, I learned it because I learned a shloka, and that was written in a particular metrical pattern, which is Bhujanga Prayatam. What does it mean? It imitates the snake's movement, snake's gait. How? I said the arrangement of syllables in that metrical pattern is that one straight means short, like I said, this is my nose. If I say, like this is what is my nose, so it takes a long way. So curved means long. What is short and long? I said, when I said ka, it is short, and when I say ka, it is long. This is heavy because it needs more effort, more breath. You are lengthening, so it is heavy, and the other one is light, short, long. Oh, okay, got it. So, what is Bhujanga Prayatam doing then? I said that in that metrical pattern, the the poetry, the short long arrangement is one short syllable followed by two long syllables, and the process continues 4 times. So you have 12 syllables, and then it moves like this: na tato, na mata, na bandho, na data, na putro, na putri, na bhrutyo, na bharta, na jaya, na vidya, na vrittir mamaiva gatistvam gatistvam tvameka bhava. The verse moves in a very rhythmical way, and you have the feeling of the snake Bhujanga Prayagam. Wow, this is interesting. Tell us something more now. You generate curiosity. You are not teaching them Sanskrit. Collect such materials. Share with your children. Many fantastic, amazing verses you have in Sanskrit. Amazing composition. I ask children, can you solve a problem? Are you playing chess? Yes. Can you solve a problem that the knight you have to move on the chessboard and then move in such a manner that you cover all the squares without landing twice on any? Interesting. How does that happen? I said, no, you are now saying that how does that happen? But it was a problem till 18th century when there was no solution to it. And a Swiss mathematician by the name Euler, he gave the solution to it. You go to internet and will find out. This is what the world knows. But what the world doesn't know is 500 years before, Vedanta Desikan, while worshipping Vishnu's Paduka, the wooden sandal of Vishnu, created 2 verses, Sthira Vasam Sada Radhya Vihata Katata Mata, Satpaduke Sarasama Rangaraja Padannaya, 32 syllables. 8, 8, 8, 8. Then here, using the same syllables, he composed another poetry. Sthita Samaya Rajat Pagata Rama Dake Gavi Duram Hasam Sannatada Sadhyata Pakarasara. It may sound Greek and Latin for people who do not know Sanskrit, which is fine. But what is interesting here, that the first verse, you create 32 squares, 8, 8, 8, 8. Write down Sthiraga Samsadaradhya Pihata Katata Mata Satpaduke Sarasama Rangaraja Padannaya. Then look at the second verse, Sthita Samayara, and put your knight on wherever you find Sthi. The first verse you have Sthi, which is left corner. Then in the second verse, first letter is Thi, so you put the second letter in the second verse is Ta. So here you find out where is Thira Gasam Sadara Vihata, the third letter in the second line of the first verse. So from Sthi to Ta, it is exactly the movement of the horse on the chessboard. And then if you follow the sequence in which the syllables are arranged in the second verse, follow that, it is exactly the movement of the horse on the chessboard without landing twice on it. How does a poet create? Which language? See here, not just the poet's brilliant poetic ability, but the language is there. Such a highly flexible language, very rigid in its grammar. This two contrasting nature, it reconciles within its own system because it belongs to a higher consciousness. That's possible only in a higher consciousness. All contrasting nature you can reconcile and then move happily without any conflict. That's what is the beauty of Sanskritam. So the flexibility of the language has allowed the poets to have such kind of compositions. You read something left to right is about Rama, right to left about Krishna. Two different stories. Viloma Kavyas. And so many poets have used. And it's not just that the Vedanta Desikan created only one horse knight composition. It's a style of composition in Sanskritam called Turaga Pada Bandha, horse step composition. So many people have written about it. So amazing compositions you will just get mesmerized about this because of the high flexibility of the language. Immense vocabularies here, and you can create enormous number of vocabularies, no ending to it. So share this type of materials with your children. I don't see any reason why any child will not take interest in that.
Sure.
Because they are very scientifically, very systematically explaining something which is not possible in any other language. If they don't agree, ask them that show me something.
Sure.
It's like that. That's how the children will get definitely curious about the language. And once the curiosity is there, you try to, fill that, satisfy them, respond to their curiosity in a very patient and palatable, relatable way, then they will take interest.
Thank you. That's very powerful example, because that bhujang is all around. We have bhujangi chandas, which is there not just in Sanskrit, in any other parallel language that develop across our culture. And we and I especially even get to know today that how it is related with the snake movement. So yes, definitely we have so many of these examples that we need to uncover. So I really appreciate that. I have one question also for Shree Ramji, because you also teach Sanskrit, and we really appreciate today that you took the lead to interview Dr. Mishra. So my question here for you is, what in your opinion is the minimum number of hours a student needs to put in a week to be able to converse in Sanskritam, whether it's adult or child?
Sure. So I was learning spoken Sanskritam in classes for over 2 years, and I could not speak a single word in Sanskritam except for some Mama Nama sentence in class. Couldn't speak at all. Then one day I lost my job. So instead of looking for another job spending in dollars, so I thought I'll go sit in India and look for a job. It's cheaper, no? I went to India, started looking for a job. In that time, can't look for a job 24/7. I started meeting people. One of the persons I met was a Samskrita Bharati Karyakarta. He said, if you are not doing anything, why don't you come along with me? So for those 3 months, I just spent time roaming around with him for little bit here, little bit there. And all my Sambhashana Sanskritam came from those 3 months of association with somebody speaking in Sanskritam. So it doesn't matter how many hours a week you're attending classes or reading books or anything like that. Shravanena Samskrita Bhashanam Siddhyati. So the most important thing is listen to as much as you can. In the modern day, we can't all expect to quit our jobs, go somewhere and listen to Sanskritam, but listen to YouTube videos. Listen to people like Mishra ji talking, and even if we don't understand 100%, just having it play in the background creates a world of difference. This is exactly the way every child learns mother tongue. No child ever asks, how many hours should I listen to my mother? Just speak, keep listening, and then it will come.
I appreciate that. Thank you
You
so
know,
much.
to this was the idea behind. In 2013, I launched this 24/7 Sanskrit radio called Divyavani Sanskrit Radio. So anywhere in the world you are, it's a satellite radio, internet radio. Just, even speak to your Alexa. Alexa, play Divyavani Sanskrit Radio. It will start playing. So 24/7 you have some Sanskrit content going on. Many people, when they meet me, they say, Mishra ji, Divyavani Sanskrit Radio every day. Office going 2 hours, coming 2 hours. Only Divyavani Sanskrit Radio. That's how I'm getting into Sanskrit. More you listen, more you learn. This is one thing. Another thing which I want to tell all the parents, and especially the young couples, if you have got married and you are planning your baby, start learning Sanskritam. Make Sanskrit learning as a part of your pregnancy program. If a child, right from the day of conception, grows in the environment of Sanskritam, you don't need to teach much after the child is born. Let me see, like when a child takes birth, starts speaking, say 1.5 years or 2 years, what did the child do all this time? Kept listening, observing. If you create an environment of Sanskritam, start learning Sanskritam, do all beautiful things, music, colors, nature, Sanskritam, refined language. Always with the children, people should speak clearly. You can speak, this in other language. In Sanskritam, it's not possible. So, you speak clearly. The more clarity you bring to the language, the child will speak clearly, will never develop any kind of speech-related disorder, disability, hearing problem. The speech will be very clear. So always start speaking clearly right from the day of conception. Create an environment of Sanskrit. Much work that we are thinking to do, how to do, will get reduced. The child is ready. Now you give little materials, and so the child will feel like this is my mother tongue.
Wonderful. I will share this with you also, Mishraji, after. I created the Gurukula app, and it's accessible from gurukula.com. And today we have published over 300 Sanskritam stories with audiobooks. So anybody can go download the app and listen to it, or just go to the website and listen to it. It's free for all, so that's one way to certainly make Sanskritam listening a part of your life.
Okay, that's great. That's a really good advice and good information. So we'll go ahead and share the information about your app, and then any future program we will have for non-parents and kids. So thank you so much.
Namaste.
Dhanyavad.
Mishra, it's amazing